So these two pair of brand new, reasonably expensive, fairly high quality shoes are making me feel disgusting and consumerist and like a bad environmentalist and super bougie. But I'm talking myself through it. And I want to talk you guys through it too. Because here's the thing. I have bought cheap shoes, used shoes, etc. for the vast majority of my life. Because I've been pretty much perpetually broke. I have no idea what I look like right now. I'm probably really shiny. Sorry everyone. But I've been wearing On Clouds for a few years, but this is my first new pair. Ugh, sorry. I like to buy used from an environmental perspective. Obviously, it can be harder to get exactly the shoe that you want or need. And more to the point, in this case, I actually ordered these because one, I realized I really, really could use to have. And the other, the On Clouds, are because my previous ones randomly got a giant slit in the mesh, something cut into them. And we are going away next Wednesday. So I needed to make sure that I got them quickly. So I went ahead and ordered them straight from the manufacturer. But more to the point, I feel like shoes are actually a very good example of both the principle of you get what you pay for and the principle of it costs money to be poor. Because, I mean, you get what you pay for is obvious, right? And that plays into the second principle. And like I said, I spent most of my life buying cheap shoes, buying what I could afford in the moment because I didn't really have a choice. And of course, especially with daily wear, because being pretty broke, I also never had more than one or two pairs of shoes that were really suitable for just like daily wear at a time. So they would be worn pretty much every day. And they would fall apart sometimes within a few months. And, if I spend $30, whatever, between $25 and $40 on a pair of shoes, right? 4 times a year, I'm not spending that much more to get $160, $180 pair of shoes that's going to last me a good 2 years, even also with nearly daily wear. I'm probably paying less. I'm not good at math, you guys. Sorry, I'm getting so many texts. And, well, you'll save money in the long run is an easy thing for people to say when they have the money to spend more money up front. And I have been now, finally, at 45, on both sides of that to some degree. I do not have a lot of money now either, but I am incredibly fortunate in that I have moved in with my boyfriend in a house that he owns, and I don't contribute to the bills any more than I can. The deal is just I shoot him a little bit of money when I can here and there. And while I wouldn't call myself particularly financially secure, I have all of a few $100s in savings. That is the first time in a very, very long time that I have been able to have savings. It is the first time in a very, very long time that I haven't had thousands of dollars in debt, because just in order to live, in order to get the things that I need to put things on credit cards. I am in a better position now than I have been in. Now, these shoes both went on payment plans, but I felt like I could handle those payment plans. I didn't feel like I was getting myself into trouble with it. And that is a luxury that I have not had before. And like I said, I'm incredibly grateful for. But here's the thing. I feel terribly guilty for it. I've struggled my entire life and skimped my entire life. And I still just don't like certain aspects of who I feel I am when I purchase things like this. Now, I love the shoes. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not immune to that. They're very pretty. The On Clouds are waterproof, which is so much better than walking around in just mesh, right? But also, I'm getting older. I have plantar fasciitis, and I have sciatica, and I have other back problems, and these things matter, right? The comfort of your shoes, the positioning of your feet and your legs and your hips while you're walking, the support that your shoes offer matter when you have these kind of conditions. And not only that, I might not have developed these conditions or developed them as soon if I had been able to buy better shoes all along, right? Now, again, I would prefer to buy them used whenever possible. That is another element of this. But I'm just sending this message to all my other sort of anti-consumerist, anti-capitalism, anti-capitalist, and don't get me wrong, I am not actively all of those things in all of the ways that I want to be, right? Like I participate in the system. I am very, 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 very far from perfect. But mentality wise, and in the sense that I do what I feel like I can reasonably, I would consider myself those things. So for everyone else who is, and makes a purchase that they feel guilty about and that they feel doesn't align with their values and the way that they identify, I'm not saying to completely absolve yourself at every time and just go right along down the slippery slope. I am saying give yourself some grace, because there is value sometimes in higher quality goods that, and from the environmental perspective also, I'm then not having to throw away 4 or 5 pairs of shoes a year. So that there's also that, but it's just kind of give yourself some grace, because there are good reasons to splurge, so to speak, once in a while. All right.